When most of us think of agriculture, the first thing that comes to mind is probably traditional farming. While many of us may assume that farmers are slow to adopt new technologies, there is plenty of evidence to reflect that they are, in fact, making great strides to modernize virtually every aspect of farming, including some truly impressive applications of artificial intelligence that are bringing the process of food cultivation into the 21st century. Most agricultural equipment tends to be oversized as they are designed to complete more work in the shortest time possible. Secondly, they're built with efficiency in mind, using as minimal resources as possible to do as much as possible. That's why you'll find machinery like a combine carrying out 3 processes at the same time: reaping, threshing, and winnowing. To keep the cost down, the same machine can be put to work on many sites depending on the time of year and the level of demand. Farming is no longer a small-scale production, but rather one that is done with huge machines over thousands of hectares. This efficiency boost means that the world has access to any food it wants at any time it wants it. Let's take a look at 5 innovative devices that have significantly improved the productivity and efficiency of agricultural operations throughout the world. At number 5, we have a tractor that doesn't need a driver. The self-driving vehicle is an innovative and exciting new technology that has the potential to completely change life on the road. For some of us, it's also a very scary thing. We have a hard time picturing a world in which cars can drive themselves at high speeds along motorways. Farmers are apparently also feeling a little skittish about letting the machines do the driving on their land. But advocates of the technology insist that it is only the latest in a long line of developments that'll make planting and tending crops much less of a chore. Using this technology, the farmer controls one tractor, which then connects to others that can function in a pattern that is identical to the first tractor. Talk about synchronization! Although expensive, around $800,000, driverless tractors have several advantages over their human-driven counterparts, including the ability to operate without interruption, around the clock, and better accuracy when plowing. Likewise, by freeing farmers of the physically demanding task of tractor operation, these technologies could extend the working lives of farmers into their golden years. Next up, we have the hybrid planter. Farming is an art as much as a science. Everything from deciding what to grow and where to plant it falls under this umbrella. Even though the crops being grown at each field are the same, there are some varieties of seeds that perform better in certain areas. While racehorse hybrid seeds may help enhance yield in better soil, workhorse hybrid seeds could be essential in more demanding situations. Billed as the first machine of its kind, Kinza Manufacturing's electric multi-hybrid planter is intended to help farmers enjoy the best of both worlds by giving them the ability to automatically change the seeds they plant as the machine moves from one field to another. The technology uses a single seed tube to make sure that there are no gaps or other problems when switching from one type of seed to another. A versatile machine that many farms would dream of. At number 3, we have Combine Harvester. For farmers, the Combine Harvester was a game changer since it greatly sped up the harvesting process. The term Combine Harvester was coined since the equipment performs 4 distinct harvesting tasks simultaneously. A single machine performs the functions of a harvester, thresher, gatherer, and winnower. This makes the harvesting process much more efficient, especially for grain crops. The combine header, which is the part of the machine in front of which the crops are picked, can be changed to pick different kinds of crops. Most of the time, a tractor pulls a trailer behind the combine harvester. The grain is sucked onto a trailer through a chute, and the chaff is used as compost or fertilizer for the next harvest. The harvesting of crops grown on steep slopes requires the use of specialized combine harvesters, known as hillside leveling harvesters and side hill leveling harvesters. These harvesters are common in the Pacific Northwest, where they work in the hilly farmlands. Different sizes of combine harvesters are available, so it's easy to find one that's suitable for every farm, regardless of its size or the size of the fields it has to harvest. Next up, we have the tree shaker. Farms that grow nuts and some kinds of fruit often use specialized vehicles called tree shakers. The tree shaker is about the same size as a forklift, but it has a horizontal mechanical claw in front of it. The truck is driven up to the base of the tree, and the claw is positioned around the base of the tree at an elevation of about 3 feet or 1 meter above the ground. When the shaker is turned on by the operator, the arm that is linked to the claw shakes the tree, which ultimately forces the nuts or fruit to fall from the tree. Some tree shakers use a funnel-like collection mechanism to collect the nuts or fruit before they fall to the ground and then transport them in a container. Most tree shakers just let the product fall to the ground. Once the crop has matured, it's picked from the ground rather than the branches, which greatly simplifies the process. These machines are used on crops that won't get hurt if they fall to the ground, and only on trees that are strong enough to handle this method of harvesting. Last but not least, we have the Bourgault 7950 air seeder. There is nothing that draws a crowd quite like battleship-sized machinery. Manufacturers don't build these products for amusement, even though most people are there only to watch the show and leave without buying anything. Even though the Bourgault 7950 air seeder is a massive piece of equipment, it might be a lifesaver for a farmer who has a lot of flat land to farm. Planting seeds for the next crop is one of the most labor-intensive activities on a farm. But with a machine like the Bourgault 7950 air seeder, which has 4 main tanks with a combined capacity of around 950 bushels, the operation is greatly simplified and accelerated. To top it off, the capacity of this enormous load can be increased even further by installing a saddle tank and a pallet storage platform on the left side of the vehicle. In other words, you won't have to stop to reload nearly as often, and you'll be able to dig a whole field, and possibly more, in a fraction of the time. There's a camera system and a little LCD screen built in so you can monitor its development on the go. There are 2 kinds of monitoring systems that adjust to the closeness of the seeds in the ground depending on their type and the land's contours. The 7950 air seeder runs on huge 38 tires with a low 15 pounds per square inch. This means that even when fully loaded, the tires don't put much pressure on the ground, so they don't damage the seeds once they've been planted. It's not often that the general public gets to witness the kind of farming equipment used on farms, so it makes for a fascinating subject. When you encounter one of these intriguing devices and wonder what it does, you'll be able to put this video's knowledge to use. The mechanical world is full of amazing things, and farming vehicles are among the most interesting. The engineering and design that went into these devices are incredible and a true reflection of human creativity. Aside from being an intriguing topic in and of itself, the automation of farming is essential if our farmers are to increase their productivity and meet the rising global demand for food. Farm vehicles benefit both farmers and their customers by making agricultural work less strenuous and more efficient.